à cette heure-ci. Néanmoins, les températures clémentes sont prévues en ce week-end de vacances scolaires. Plusieurs préfectures ont annoncé des contrôles renforcés, notamment pour éviter les rassemblements. Alors, je ne sais pas vous étiez aujourd'hui dans Paris, peut-être que vous vous êtes baladé. Est-ce que ces rassemblements ont été évités? On peut dire que non. Céline Boisson, est-ce que vous avez pu constater vous aussi qu'il y avait, chez moi. Vous êtes resté chez vous, alors qui a pu constater en dehors qu'il y avait peut-être un léger, pour être polaire?
Moi, je me suis baladé autour de chez moi et j'ai vu qu'effectivement, et c'est bien heureux quand même, nous sommes des êtres vivants, on a envie de partager des moments comme ceux que l'on vit en ce moment avec le soleil qui sort et on a envie de prendre les rayons du soleil un petit peu. J'ai trouvé au contraire que les gens étaient assez respectueux, même j'ai vu les images ici sur le canal Saint-Martin où à Paris, beaucoup de monde a l'habitude de se retrouver. Assez respecté.
Les gestes barrières étaient respectés?
Oui, je ne peux pas dire que partout ça a été respecté. J'ai eu le sentiment, en tout cas, de ce que j'ai vu moi autour de chez moi et ce que j'ai vu à travers la chaîne France Info, le canal 27, que les règles étaient plus ou moins respectées. Donc, moi, je trouve quand même que ça fait un an que les Français respectent les consignes qui leur sont données. Bon, aujourd'hui, on ne peut pas dire que les Français n'ont pas été demandés de faire.
Alors nous on a reçu les images des reporters de France T pour les journaux télévisés ce soir. Effectivement, non, il y avait beaucoup de monde au jardin du Luxembourg notamment, avec des gens qui ne portaient pas le masque, il y avait beaucoup de contrôles de police. Mais au-delà de ça, ce qui est intéressant, c'est qu'il y a un vrai ras-le-bol psychologique. C'est-à-dire que dans les interviews des Parisiens cet après-midi, il y avait vraiment la notion de ça commence à faire longtemps, on a besoin de faire tomber les masques, on a besoin d'un peu de chaleur humaine, si vous me permettez l'expression, et on a besoin de vitamine D. C'était assez rigolo, mais finalement, on se demandait, le débat sur la vitamine D est toujours d'actualité, mais on sent ce ras-le-bol psychologique des Français, et ça rejoint un peu les décisions politiques qui sont prises. Je pense que au niveau des politiques, il y a cette notion-là qui est très importante aussi. On est sur une ligne de crête, mais on est aussi sur une ligne de crête par rapport au moral des Français. Et le moral des Français, on sait que c'est primordial quand on gère un pays et quand on gouverne.
Ben justement, on va en écouter quelques-uns, un petit panel de Français rencontrés aujourd'hui un petit peu partout en France.
On voit bien que les gens, ils ont bien envie de respirer et de vivre normalement, entre guillemets, on va dire.
Les gens s'y sont habitués, voilà, on fait plus trop attention. Bon, mais là, quand je sors de la plage, je mettrai mon masque quand même.
Voilà, il n'y avait pas de masque. Alors, est-ce qu'il faut craindre après l'effet apéro? Vous vous en souvenez, cet effet où, pour le couvre-feu, des jeunes qui peut-être se retrouvaient, l'effet pique-nique qui pourrait avoir des conséquences dans les prochaines semaines?
Je ne sais pas, mais en tout cas, il faut se remettre à chaque fois en perspective. Il faut que la responsabilité individuelle de chacun, de toute façon, dès qu'on a autour de nous quelqu'un qui est touché, c'est à chaque fois aussi un rappel que ça arrive très vite, très proche, et tout en respectant déjà bien, en tout cas on a l'impression de bien respecter les gestes barrières. Donc c'est comme toujours, aujourd'hui c'est vrai que d'abord c'est bon pour le moral, un peu de soleil, je crois qu'on en a tous besoin, vous l'avez dit, mais c'est très vrai parce que tout le monde le ressent, c'est-à-dire qu'on fait appel à ce qu'on a au plus profond de nous en matière de résilience quand même. Ça fait presque un an où il faut continuer de travailler, continuer de faire des études, continuer. Donc, on a besoin des petites choses de la vie qui font quand même que c'est supportable et ça a un sens. Après, au-delà de ça, il faut évidemment éviter les regroupements, toujours avec les gestes. Beaucoup là, c'était un week-end de chassé-croisé quand même pour les vacances, et il y avait des contrôles sur les routes.
What exactly is going on here? Okay, so all I said was there's a Toronto man facing 60 charges related to return purchases. What is sizzling? There's no food in there. So I guess my joint is now lasting me an hour and a half. I don't know. We don't know. So just to be clear, up here in Canada, there's this weird, because you'll hear like criminals, gang members, whatever they want to call themselves, talking about the feds and so forth. This isn't over-the-table policing. This is this weird cloak and dagger shit they're always doing. They've been doing it a long time. We know. It's the one level on which they do recognize us as an independent nation, because these are acts of war. So I don't know why these idiots bother. They do. I'm supposed to get mad and fucked up because just harassing somebody forever makes them go crazy. That's the logic of a sociopath that believes something they have told themselves, because you've been trying this for several hundred years on this side of the world and it's never worked. It's never worked. There are white people telling me what brown people around the world believe, and then brown people tell me themselves. They tell me that white guy was lying. We don't believe that shit. When was the last time you heard about South American, Central American countries are all Roman Catholic? You haven't heard that in a while, right? What do we hear about them now? They're drug dealers who don't give a fuck about church or state. So, where did that come from? They're still telling us all my people from my reserve are Christians. Really? Because we were wearing those crosses before you were. We converted you through osmosis and association, apparently. Knick-knack don't exist. Invented by Hollywood. That makes a lot of sense. 300 years of not being able to kill us. 400, and then you jump into another country's history. That makes a lot of sense. Oh, that teacher's name was Miss Hill. Right there, public. When KT guns slit your neck, it's dangerous like Buster busting up. Oh, 97. Yeah, the fucking all the shit that they got fucked up on my screen went back to normal. The music player started playing, and it went off. Then it went on. Then it skipped 8 tracks.
My iPhone. 719.
And then there was zero more influence off the internet. You know, when you yell at your computer and it suddenly gets back to work, eh?
Where you from? Yo, I'm from the streets where them niggas don't talk.
I'm supposed to be so fucked in my head, I don't know on my streaming, right? I don't understand how the internet works. These cops really believe they got computers before we built them.
719 nigga all day. Niggas want what?
I remember around 92, 93 seeing the first police cars with the CPIC computer in it. And thinking, wow, that's old. It's like an 87 computer. It's like a 5-year-old computer. We were working with colors and graphics. Well, 89,
like an earthquake. You can get earth today, nigga. His name is Dave. It's real shit. When we pulling up, pop shit. I hit him up. Don't give.
More police have been caught committing crimes on camera than anybody from my generation, my cohort, so to speak.
Niggas all know I got a street deal. Empty out the whole clip, no it's real.
The camera. We know, that's why we're not worried what you think, stupid. Oh, we've been following you 6 blocks and you didn't do nothing, so we're gonna find something wrong. Travis, that's the second highest number of views video on this channel.
Murder gang poppin', something like beer caps, cocaine chopping, nigga that pure facts, never let the ops win, blocking like airwax, they hear that, looking back, couple of niggas in there for made it, when we tried to sit, know a couple of niggas that hated. Ticket to the death and breath of happy related. Seeing different mothers, but niggas always related. They didn't hear me. Rolling with killers, I know they got me though. See us in the streets, but never take us for poppy show. Holding out his hammer is heavy, and so we lock it up. 40 cap singing, it's like it's been in a knocker show.
Yes, Officer Albo and Detective Diddler. His mother is a black police officer. You're fucking with things you shouldn't be fucking with. Yes. Mark the Dark Knight Saunders, who nobody knows when he started working, except for me apparently, has been harassing us this whole time. My brother's mother wouldn't fuck him. So his solution was to come up to me on the street and grab me by the nuts. Oh, he's not a child molester. I told you to go back to Britain when you said you were done. You didn't go. You stayed here. Now there's nothing but strife, right? I told you that would happen. But now you're pissed off. You can't prove I made that happen. I didn't. I just told you it would happen. You didn't listen. And now you got your dummies with your cell phone hacking, whatever going on. So Mark the Dark Knight Saunders will call you on the phone and you think it's a white boy and he shows up and it's a black cop. He's not in uniform. How does he know where all the cocaine is? Because it's the Toronto police bringing it in, selling it, and then busting it, and then selling it, and then busting it, and not piecing off Peel region whatsoever for bringing it to their airport. Even the solid cops are like, what the hell? And you'll find, since that story's, for about 25 to 30 years, you're hearing gang fight-like stories coming out in the newspaper about Peel region and Toronto police. You got officers shooting at each other. One cop shot 17 shots into another cop while they're investigating a car collision. What argument did you have? It's from the ball. What if these guys off? Tell them you outrank them, that you're not in their purview, and let them go find out that you're right. They get mad. And I just wonder, why did Toronto police hate Toronto rappers when Toronto police aren't even from Toronto? And there are no Toronto cops in Toronto, very few. What the fuck do you care? What I do know, Barrie, where all you people live, worst crack neighborhood in Ontario that I can find. Very small.
Not even my barbecue family, you niggas is crazy. Fuck up fighting third, what these talents do. You could be as cuckoo as you are unbalanced too. Facing the garden, I'm coming to rally you. Massacre splatter you, run you off of your avenue while I laugh at you. The chronics are dizzy, demented rocks. My pigment, other appearance, alias, run you off a district. You rep the team, that on your set me high. Big shots, nigga, rep your block. Holding your tongue, the bloody north where the soldiers is from. You rep the team, that on your set me high. He shot a film in DJ.
So I thought I knew what the next 8 tracks were because I just saw them. I've tried to put something together. If I could clip out all the stupid parts where we're getting interfered with, that's the video I'm trying to make, but whatever. Everybody's got shitloads of time now. I guess it doesn't matter. Please, fuck it up now. I've got another joint after this one. I'll just put this one down and smoke it on the next video and then roll another one. I don't see why you bother, Officer Diddler. Okay, press play again. And nothing happens. Okay, skip. Skip. Oh, for fuck's sakes, man. And that one stops. Are we still on the internet?
Rolling Southside, get close, we get close when we riding. Southside, we get close when we riding. Don't get close, we get close when we riding. If I ain't in the hood, then I'm OT grinding. I'm right at the spot where the cops can't find them. Nobody knows where the cops can't find them. I'm run at the spot where the cops can't find them. If I ain't in the hood, then I'm OT grinding. I'm right at the spot where the cops can't find them. Where the cops can't find them, on the run at the spot where the cops can't find them. Living life as a fugitive who really wants to hurt me. Enough people following me, my whole fam dissing me. Love is like a mystery, I ain't got shit to be. I'm on my own, you think they care if I fucking be? God bless me, and I ain't even in the mood to squeeze. Shit that put it off like the breeze. Do this rap shit with ease, used to rob for the police. First one to duck, flow and shoot, and it's time to squeeze. First one to go for OT for the longest case. Motivation over 20 years, then the drop is there. Bitches looking at tender life and he's still living, still crippin'. God bless my niggas in that cold bridge, just feeling DDS. Don't get close when them brains hit the front page or back streets. My white people go get focus and have me switched up all in 1 second. Focus and have me switched up all in 1 second. Don't get close, we get close when we riding. Don't get close, we get close when we riding. Don't get close, we get close when we riding. If I ain't in the hood, then I'm OT grinding. On the run at the spot where the cops can't find them. Nobody knows where the cops can't find them. On the run at the spot where the cops can't find them. If I ain't in the hood, then I'm OT grinding. On the run at the spot where the cops can't find them.
I'm paranoid imagining this shit. How come right now nothing's going wrong? If the box is garbage, if the software I'm using is garbage, or something to that effect is a problem, how come nothing's happening now? So what conclusion can I draw? Half of internet security is deduction. Also, thinking 5 minutes ahead, following things to their logical conclusion. If you write the password on the wall, anybody walking by can see it.
I had a pastor, didn't even cuss one word when I slapped her. Turned it to a whore, stripper, dancer, taxer, axer, life coach master. Found a sick chick, her mom knows I'm a black, so she hotels. And I got some girls in the hotel. And I got some girls in the hotel. Don't get close, we get close when we riding. We get close when we riding. Don't get close, we get close when we riding. If I ain't in the hood, then I'm OT grinding. I'm running at the spot where the cops
this could be the best $20 ever spent. If I find another one, I'll won't damage it.
Where the cops can't find me. If I ain't in the hood, then I'm OT.
Money I saved making coffee and then not spending $2 when I go up.
Where the cops can't find them, on the run at the spot where the cops can't find them. Don't get close. CVS, you already know what type of day it is. Palmer Media, only getting greedier. ABK, Palmer Court, Marksman, 380 degree.
So these old Chinese people that were panicking and mailing off seeds to the whole world, that's how you spread the seeds around. Just getting people into classrooms or what do they call them, workshops and shit. Yeah, keep it up. Keep it up, Officer Abo. Keep it up.
Yeah, you already know who it is. It's your boy,
it's the point of what the frame
rocking my man Tycho here in 54. Maximum FM Hip Hop Radio. Holla at your boy, 90 Nickel, Money Talks.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you want to do?
I don't know.
It's 4:37 o'clock. Is that what your issue is? Those are the jokes I make, man. Jesus Christ. Man. No, see, it's weird that I fucking things like that. And yeah, my lipstick's up. I know. We didn't used to have cameras everywhere and mirrors everywhere. And when I used to notice, I used to try not to. Then I stopped giving a fuck.
Break out the blankets, roll the papers, drop a lesson in your mind, telling you to stop rewinding, let it flow and then combine female energy and stop ever moving back and then in front.
I'll go find white Dutch people with those lower lipstick like that. And go find a Micmac whose lipstick don't like it.
Check it out, shot like that. And all these haters on the map. Fuck Mike Media. The shit is garbage trash. And yo, make no mistake, the struggle's too real, you can't escape. The harsh realities of life are too hard to take. So we don't play no games. Shh, stay quiet, we say no names. My squad's insane in the brain, but crazy the reigns. Ain't much change these days. The pain's the same as it used to be. The truthfully, resist the mutiny to my power off communities. See, we speak there fluently at the Jubilee, musically. None of your fools are really moving me. It's impossible. We got so gotta go. The flow is not proposed to follow these hill chronicles. If not, you're going to turn up the audio. Keep it chilling the audio. I lay your piece horizontal all up in the hospital.
Hold on, that can't be the same call, right? That was 2 hours ago. Where are you? Could it be the same call? Same place. Same fucking bunch of buildings. What are these buildings just burning down?
Mark cemetery graves with dark, never-ending plagues. Spirits float like the smoke from an lemonberry haze, set it ablaze, and I'm most let.
No one know what I want, officer. You can tell from the sound of the engine how big that truck is. Yeah, City of Toronto's geniuses. They buy trucks 12. What was it? They bought trucks too big to fit down the side streets. Yeah.
Legendary away, straight bullets may ricochet and put an end to your days. See, it's not all fun and games when the semi-automatic rings and the local pastors in the church hollering out your government name. It's such a shame you played yourself for a fucking lame. You a college dropout, now you're just another one of Trump's puppet slaves. White supremacy, we kill that shit in a million hundred ways. Mask up in these streets and punch these maggots in their fucking face. Disappear them off this planet, gone without a fucking trace. A gun tucked in the waist, give y'all bumps a few crumbs for the taste. So pump your brakes. Hollow tip slugs gonna make you jump in place. The warriors stay ready for this ritual hunt and chase, cause these racist devils got our people locked up in a cage. I turn up the snare, the shotgun pump gonna hit them with a ton of bass. These ain't no games we're playing, it's the art of mayhem we're displaying. Talk shit, you end up rotting in the ditch, decaying. That's a cinch, fuck the pigs, we making them crispy bacon. Death to the feds, death to all the sick border patrol agents. Kill the president and kill his whole fascist administration. Let's kill this capitalist system built up from genocide and slave labor. Uncover the racist layers of psychopathic behavior. We endanger fear and anger, make them hate their neighbor. It's the second nature. We shut them down, wake them up from this corrupted spell. Cause in a nutshell, America been one destructive hell, but we still run this town and crush these buildings to the underground. Busting off 100 rounds out for liberation, if nothing else. These ain't no games or politics. No peace, it's the exact opposite. We check through and demolish it. I'm clandestine operatives. See how it's bottomless. Got a pick full of souls of the apocalypse. It's home of broken promises and keep your soul like Chicano kids. We anti-government, so y'all best acknowledge this. We murder your politics, filmed in front of a live studio audience. So with confidence we shall succeed. See, we got what you need to make your enemies bleed. Televised revolutions that you'll never see. No pics on IG. This ain't no war games, we war for keeps. Put these souls to sleep and meditate on world peace. But first we lay siege to all those that claim we ain't free. That all that hate speech, the pistol whip will change the way you think. Retaliation, y'all, it's such a dangerous thing. That's why we defend everything we love for every necessary means.
Dance. The Kalashnikov feature. First aid and CPR manual.
Yeah.
One more Sunday. That's 8 days.
Yo, we
We all the same piece, but we cut from a different cloth. Keep your mouth locked about your hustle so you don't get caught. My people came from family trees that grew from slavery, sitting in a cell like is this what life got made for me? A world with no bail, find your path to break free. Strengthen up your mind state, cause jail couldn't break me. Third on my shoes, cause I walked through hell and back. Half the angels, but the devils I was yelling back. Pink cow, that's what you hear when the night falls. Niggas think we bitches ready for that night call. Is that a shame? I don't think so. Back page, dealing with the client, well niggas load up that black gauge. Client never paid, had to run and got his back sprayed. Now that's a damn shame. Had about an 80 on the scale of what will Smith stop his operation like I went and pushed the kill switch. Feel this, it's crunch time when it's lunchtime. We'll wolf on the rock of my brain, so I'm a hawk man. Niggas keep a strap to the show, I finger fuck man. Hook another sword on the road, that's the rough time. Told my mama, I don't need a coat, I need a vest and shit. 2 hoodies on for the winter, I made the best of it. Nick dope, stack rock, smoke cushy shit. All you do is talk, I should call these niggas pussy lips in the spot. I get it off, then I read it there. Got niggas that work for the low, I call the legal name. Had to make my block on the low, but not the legal way. That 50 cal crane took his soul. I let that eagle spray. I need to get some stress on my chest. I hit the hoop today. If not, catch one in the leg. It's like shooter Shane. I'm only 24 with 32. We got the best backs. Hit a nigga off to lay him down like a bed rat. Couple brothers left for the niggas who selling death threats. They beat with horsepower, so nigga come place your best bet.
Go shout to whoever made this beat. YG, you did your thing, man. But no disrespect, I ain't no nigga. I'ma ride for my motherfucking natives. Most likely I'ma die with my finger on the trigger. I've been grinding outside all day with my natives, and I ain't going in unless I'm with my native, 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 my motherfucking native, my 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 motherfucking native. Yeah, I'ma ride, I'ma die, and I'ma do it for my natives. So whooping and we're whooping, and I do it for my natives, for my natives. I put on for my natives, I show out for my natives, for my natives. I do
Hold
this
them
for my
things.
natives.
I'll take those guns.
I do this for my tribe. I do this for myself. I gotta stay alive. My natives know what's up, cause my natives going down. Got my natives all around. From my town, they get down. It ain't no problem. We do the damn thing. Posted with my BF 59, 50 fitted, all red, everything, and you heard me right. I be stripping and we're hooping all damn night. I do this for my natives. I do this for my natives. We keep on hating, but I'm just demonstrating. I'm just demonstrating the ways I was shown. I was pulling bread for the rest. That's why I call them home. You can leave me alone if you don't want problems. Me and my natives, yeah, we always gotta solve some good beef so we can even get about the day. I'ma ride, I'ma die, I'ma do it for my natives. I'ma ride for my motherfucking natives. Most likely I'ma die with my finger on the trigger. I've been grinding outside all day with my natives, and I ain't going in unless I'm with my native, my native. My native, my native, my native, my native, my native, my motherfucking native, my native, my native, my. Go shout to whoever made this beat. YG, you did your thing, man. But no disrespect, I ain't no nigga. I'ma ride for my motherfucking natives. Most likely I'ma die with my finger on the trigger. I've been grinding outside all day with my natives, and I ain't going in unless I'm with my native, 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 my motherfucking native, my 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 motherfucking native. Yeah, I'ma ride, I'ma die, and I'ma do it for my natives. So whooping and we're whooping, and I do it for my natives, for my natives. I put on for my natives, I show out. For my natives, for my natives, I do this for my natives. I do this for my people, I do this for my tribe. I do this for myself, I gotta stay alive. My natives know what's up, cause my natives going down. Got my natives all around, from my town they get down. It ain't no problem, we do the damn thing. Posted with my BF 59, 50 fitted, all red, everything, and you heard me right. I be stripping and we're hooping all damn night. I do this for my natives, I do this for my natives. We keep on hating, but I'm just demonstrating. I'm just demonstrating the ways I was shown. I was born and bred for the rest, that's why I call it home. You can leave me alone if you don't want problems. Me and my natives, yeah, we always gotta solve some. Cause that beef so we can eat and get about the day. I'ma ride, I'ma die, and I'ma do it for my natives.
I like you're calling this my plantation. It's just one part of it.
With my natives, and I ain't going in unless I fit my native, 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 my motherfucking native, my native, my native, my native, my native, my native, my native, my.
Well, how the fuck did I do that?
Yo, come along, follow the map, my controller who will hold you like a stiff dick, will work you like a flick trick. I'm crazy back, the shit is getting ill sick, and deck out the birds, nigga, it's the big nicks. Coming fast from the back,
oh, somehow that's my fault.
Back, I cram stacks and backs up on your shelves, so fans can help themselves. I prove my record sales. Move along, cause yo, there ain't no pausing. I'm causing catastrophe. I hate to be the one coming after the black dick dastardly. I need them up even in winter. I spin it for Guinness. I'm eating pussies for dinner, but just remember, I ain't no downtown clown. I run the mellow ass sounds, the real shit, boy, straight from the background.
We'll see.
Five for five, wanted dead or alive. Was feeling soft pretenders for sour cream and chives. No job. If I was you, I'd come through and catch a dose on my strict technique. Straight from Suicide Street. I work a beat like a cop. Trash and pawn shops, frontin' city trends, cause I'm giving niggas speed notch. Yeah, there ain't no frontin' on the fact. Cause here the deadly in my habitat like a green spot trap. I run the Jeep ass sounds. I'm putting real shit down. So check shorty, straight from the dead ground. Your dead land kids, dirty beers for niche, or pop a hash, digger, stash, know what I'm saying? I'm out the range like stank on sewage. If your record ain't out by now, you fucking blew it. I ain't here to welcome faggot imitations. I smother brothers and watch them pay for mess suffocation. I got shorties in irreversible corners, while stops wreck trash like soup vets doing donuts. Till I don't post it at the Barbary Coast where queens be on the scenes and less than apple scene. I do my tracks like country blacks, ain't fat, doper than a sack of crack, crushing it to back, no question. I'm putting the rest, any notions are coming west. Without your bulletproof vest. On the sets, I do no less than my best to let you know your assets was dropped on the right cassette. Check, stay out the fork if you're scared of the talk, understand? I'll be around, straight from the dead ground. Under pressure.
Notre gangrène, là, pour des fameux islamo-gauchistes, c'est pas les islamo-gauchisme, c'est pas l'islamo-gauchisme qui gangrène la société, c'est davantage les idées de l'extrême droite, l'idée, en tout cas la possibilité du fascisme, comme le dit Hugo Paletta. Donc ce qu'on a vu cet après-midi, je trouve extrêmement préoccupant que le préfet de Paris, alors que a décidé de le faire, le préfet de police de Paris.
Laissez faire, selon vous, Alexis Germain.
Cet après-midi ?
Oui.
C'est vrai que ce qui était très étonnant, mais on comprend pourquoi. C'est parce que derrière, il doit y avoir aussi la volonté de montrer qu'il y a une sorte de respect du contradictoire. Parce que là, ce que je trouve, pour le coup, très complexe du point de vue juridique, c'est d'arriver au bout de cette dissolution. Donc c'est une prise de risque aussi politique, en voulant s'attaquer finalement à Génération Identitaire. Je rappelle que le ministre Darmanin n'est pas le premier à vouloir le faire, puisque Christophe Castaner avait essayé puis n'avait pas pu aller au bout. Et la marge de manœuvre juridique est faible. Et s'ils se font retoquer, si le décret en Conseil d'État se fait retoquer, finalement, ce
sera une victoire pour les identitaires.
Voilà. Donc, en partant d'une bonne intention, qui est un spectre large de vouloir combattre tout ce qui est en rupture des principes républicains, que ça aille de Baraka City jusqu'à Génération Identitaire.
L'exploration, je pense que pourquoi pas. J'ai des restrictions à cause du risque de contamination de Mars par nos petites bactéries terrestres qui risquent de quand même effacer une des grandes quêtes qu'on a, qui est de savoir si la vie a pu émerger sur Mars, en y envoyant des êtres humains qu'on peut pas désinfecter comme une sonde robotique. Et bien évidemment, on risque de brouiller un peu les pistes. Ça, c'est un autre débat. En revanche, l'exploration, donc oui, c'est un énorme moteur de développement, d'innovation, pour les grandes agences spatiales et les nations dont vous parlez. La colonisation, c'est vraiment complètement autre chose.
Land Rover the sport, we're going to do 7 minutes of fun.
Or the versatile discovery sport. Each one offers unrivaled performance on road and off. For a limited time, receive finance rates as low as 0% or savings up to $5,000 on select 2020 vehicles. Book your safe, contactless appointment today at your local Land Rover authorized retailer. Hurry, offers end March 1st. Land Rover, above and beyond.
Hiring can be challenging, but ZipRecruiter.
No, I'm going to get hired right now.
Yo, come along, flow the mad my controller who will hold you like a stiff dick, who work you like a flick trick. I'm crazy back at the shit, it's getting ill sick, and deck out the verbs, nigga, it's the big nigga.
DJ Random Shuffle Play. Major routes and general conditions.
Are you dumb? Better who, when, where, never fix them. I let my dread hang, put 12K from my teeth back. If you're shorty fiending, then I might just have to fix. I'm the shopper's jug mark booming in the six. How you get it? Out the mud, community housing. North side of the Rex, places you weren't allowed in. Bitches used to laugh at the kid, and I wanna see me. Told her put these on so you can see me coming in 3D. Forrest Gump into the money, you looking like Bueller. You think it's not for everybody, I had to maneuver. We were shooting for the stars, that was that way they were shooting. I go Bob the Builder for the fix up if you acting funny. Yeah. Are you dumb? Certain men get crushed on road and keep it hush. A nigga wrote a statement on me, who can I trust? No, my mom's not in a women's shelter, it was just us. A man trying to come for the kid, I told him head back. Before they start aiming at your head back. You get that? Backhand the back of your head, they'll tell you head back. They wanna let they sick in the head, but then we dead there. I'm trying to put a four in our road, and then we head there. Going down like Titanic, it's how I found where we head at. Keep a young mind with me, that will make you say, ooh. Or one to the west, bumping that day east. In my city, little nigga, I'm a don like you. She wanna be my playboy bunny, I guess I'm you. I came from the Rex where they good with the text. SMS, got a text, now your wife giving sex. Are you drunk? It's don't get close, so we the gang. It's don't get close, you will get smoked, you cannot hang. I'll shoot his neck, I'll shoot his chest, I'll shoot his back. It's don't get close, so we the gang. Road dog, be the hardest though. Y'all butter soft, block party turning up till the dogs block it up. All of them be talk a lot. See him and they nodding back. Matching if I had a map, know what I would do to us. Scope on the clock, I'll be bringing back the Holocaust. Hit him up. Long distance, no colors. When I pop it up, treat me like a movie star. Now she wanna love me cause I'm back from the metal bar. Cocaine white, like I'm walking around with cotton buds. Treated like an acrobat, flipping and I'm stretching down. Niggas talking like they G, all they do is rap beat. Talking all that shit up in on Snack DVD. Certain men get crushed on road and keep it hush. Certain men get crushed on road and keep it hush. No matter who, when, where, never. Are you done?
It's all going to be garbage. Whatever I click on is going to be garbage.
General. Are you dumb? Bad or who, when, where, never. I let my dread hang, put 12K for my defect. If your shorty's fiending, then I might just have to fix. I'm the shopper's drug mart booming in the 6. How you get it? Out the mud, community housing. North side of the Rex, places you weren't allowed in. Bitches used to laugh at the kid, now wanna see me. Told her put these on so you can see me coming in 3D. Forrest Gump into the money, you looking like Bueller. It's not for everybody, I had to maneuver. We were shooting for the stars, that was that where they were shooting. I go Bob the Builder for the fix up if you acting funny. Certain mans get crushed on road and keep it hush. A nigga wrote a statement on me, who can I trust? My mom's denying a women's shelter, it was just us. A man trying to come for the kid, I told him head back. Before they start aiming at your head back. You get that? Backhand the back of your head, they tell you head back. They wanna let they sick in the head, but then we get that. I'm trying to put a foreign on road, and then we head that. Going down like Titanic, it's how I found where her head at. Keep a young mind with me, that will make you say, ooh. We're one to the west, bumping that day east. In my city, little nigga, I'm a don like you. She wanna be my playboy bunny, I guess I'm huge. I came from the Rex where they good with the text. SMS got a text, now your wife giving sex. Are you done? It's don't get close, it's don't get close, so we the gang. It's don't get close, you will get smoked, you cannot hang. I'll shoot his neck, I'll shoot his chest, I'll shoot his fangs. It's don't get close, it's don't get close, so we the gang. Rolled up, be the hardest stone, y'all butterscotch. Block party turning up, till the dogs block it up. All of them we talk a lot, see them and they nodding back. Matching if I had a map, know what I would do to us. So on the clock, I'll be bringing back the Holocaust. Hit them up, long distance, no calling time. Look me when I pop it up, treat me like a movie star. Now she wanna love me cause I'm back from the metal bar. Cocaine white, like I'm walking around with cotton buds. Treat it like an acrobat, flip it and I'm stretching down. Niggas talking like they G's, all they do is rap beat. Talking all that shit up fit on Snack DVD. Certain mans get crushed on road and keep it hush. Certain mans get crushed on road and keep it hush. You better who, when, where, never. Are you done?
Computer. Everything's gonna be garbage, so I swear I'm dragging it. Okay, why? Nothing's working.
And of the Cereals presents Sergeant Preston of the Yukon. It's Yukon King, swift as the strongest lead dog of the North, blazing the his relentless pursuit of lawbreakers. Ling on you, Husky!
I already know the answer.
Gold discovered in the Yukon.
You're so creative
with
and
Sergeant
inventive
Preston and his wonder dog, you beat the
Jesus.
Challenge of the Yukon. Brought to you by Quaker Oats.
What is your issue, Detective?
With his great dog, Yukon King hadn't hesitated to set out by dog sled.
Select the track. And skip back and forth through the fucking video. That's good.
For that triple beam dream, you know me so straight. If you stick up, get that clean grip, the magazine's clear. Got 5 speed fists with the right speed. Couple right speed, strike well, I like the trees.
Preston hosts the dog team for a short rest.
So, Detective Diddler, why are you participating in a time of day attack? What's your issue? What's your issue, Officer? Why are you doing this at the same time of day as the other?
Then, as the intense cold
Well, you don't like me saying that about you. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. Okay. Remember, these idiots are still on me 20 years later about some millions of dollars they think I got stashed in a bank account that has never existed. That's where this all derives from. They told the story in their heads. They're all fucked up dealing with their sex offender.
The dog sled, which is partner
They created a fucking gang.
Jay was a small
like little kids,
sharp-featured and wearing a scraggly beard that covered his face.
People and going to jail and
the biting wind and severe cold penetrated the fur lap robe, and Jay, shivering under his parka, finally complained to Gil.
Hey, Gil, I'm about to freeze to death. I can't go much further in this wind and icy snow.
You told yourself I had money you could
You handle the team well. The exercise will warm you up. You know doggone well I'm not good at handling the team. Then stay where you are and stop your
mad at me for not cooperating to make the story stick somehow. What am I supposed to do?
This range along here be a good place to dig in for the night. But you know as well as I do, Preston will be on our trail with that big dog of his as soon as he hears about the bank robbery of Selkirk. He's not going to start after us in this kind of weather. You don't know Preston. He'll set out in any kind of weather. Do you think Preston got back to Selkirk tomorrow? Well, look, stupid.
This is 4 or 5.
He was due back this morning. That's why we robbed the bank last night and hit the
you're finished, I'll attempt to press a button. So far, every time you think I'm reaching for the keyboard, you start
if you figure we have a good start, there's no reason we shouldn't stop a while.
Participating in a
I can't take it any longer. All right, stop the beat.
Obvious.
You stop and dig in under that ledge over to the right. Good. This weather will slow that Mountie as much as it does us. We don't have to worry.
Incidents of child molestation on Facebook. I think people believe you're doing this.
The dog swung off the trail to the right. And a few moments later, they reached the ledge. Gil called the team to a halt.
So I guess we could catch the last 30 seconds of the news update. Thanks, Officer Obvious. That's helpful.
Day that he had opened an investigation into the incident. The U.S. Federal Aviation and
I don't give a fuck about that airplane. People keep getting on the
travel
planes,
abroad.
No matter what
Earlier
happens.
this week, the first cases connected to the coronavirus variant first identified in South Africa were confirmed in Sweden. Russia has confirmed the first case of human infection with the avian influenza A virus in the world. Scientists have isolated the genetic material of this bird flu virus in 7 workers of a poultry farm in South Russia, where an outbreak among fowls was reported in December. Russian sanitary officials says the infection did not spread further after measures have been taken to protect humans and animals. Debris from a United Airlines plane fell onto Denver suburbs in the U.S. state of Colorado during an emergency landing Saturday. Authorities say the plane landed safely and nobody aboard or on the ground was reported hurt.
To maintain your plane.
The National Transportation Safety Board said late Saturday that he had opened an investigation into the incident. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration says the Boeing 777-200 returned to the Denver International Airport after experiencing a right engine failure shortly after takeoff. United says there were 231 passengers and 10 crew on board.
Not loss of power, just
it's been confirmed that Chinese has become an official language of the United Nations World Tourism Organization. The world's most influential intergovernmental international tourism organization currently has 159 member states. An amendment regarding the inclusion of Chinese as official language was adopted in 2007, but did not formally enter into force until last month after 2/3 of the organization's member states completed the approval procedures. It made Chinese the 6th official language of the UNWTO after Arabic, English, French, Russian, and Spanish. And that's the news. I'm Sweet.
English, French, Russian, and Chinese.
China Plus and WFMT Radio Network jointly present The Jazz Show.
I do that just because I like to meet new people.
In this episode of the program, he speaks with me about his life in Shanghai and what it feels like living this long.
In the principle of why they would ever do a deal while 2 men are jailed with the genocide of the Uyghur Muslims, and on it goes. So I don't know how this will be allowed to stay, because even the most partisan liberal is saying this cannot be allowed.
No, and like I said, even the Prime Minister has said that, the steps are intellectual property is a problem. And the other thing, I understand that the universities are desperate for this funding. and Huawei is, too eager to throw money at them. But there are other companies out there that are working on this technology that are trusted. Nokia in Finland, Ericsson in Sweden, Samsung in South Korea. These are companies that we can work with, and we can be pretty sure that they're not going to pose a threat to our national security. So I think it's up to the federal government and certainly these universities
$35 billion in the
these other
F-35.
companies to see how they can work together and keep that research money flowing.
What's
but
wrong
in a
with the
safe way.
CF-18s? They haven't explained that yet.
But that's just one little story. And then there was a story of the Canadian government, so the Trudeau government securing the support of 57 other countries. And this is in a joint condemnation of hostage diplomacy, though it comes with no promises to act against the countries, I would say China, that arrest foreign citizens as this diplomatic tool. We already have rules in the book, the Magnitsky sanctions that could be used, and this government is...
Where does diplomacy come into it? What, the kicking the Chinese out of Texas or whatever?
Mirth as he worked up a suitable metaphor.
Burning all their
Tear
books
gas
was a diplomatic
clarified things in Kosovo. Now everyone can see better, he chuckled. He wasn't laughing when riot police stormed his party headquarters to take him into custody, but arrest and imprisonment were hardly daunting experiences for Mr. Corti. He spent 2 years in a Yugoslav jail at the end of the 1990s for his membership of the Kosovo Liberation Army, refusing an offer of release if he signed a confession. His tear gas antics earned him 2 spells of pre-trial detention before a judge eventually gave him a suspended sentence for using offensive weapons, and that conviction disqualified Mr. Corti from standing for re-election as an MP in the recent parliamentary election. But his party won almost half the vote, and in Kosovo the Prime Minister doesn't have to be a serving MP, so the way is clear for the notorious activist to complete a remarkable journey from the margins to centre stage. The second thing you notice about Albin Kurti is that for a man who wants to govern Kosovo, he seems awfully keen on Albania. On my visits to the Self-Determination Party's headquarters, the blue, white and gold flag of Kosovo has been conspicuous by its absence. In contrast, the red-framed black eagle of Albania has been on prominent display. The clue is in the party's name. Self-determination refers to the right of Kosovo's people to choose their own path, and the vast majority of those people are ethnic Albanians consistently pushed for a referendum on the unification of Kosovo with Albania. Mr. Corti has said he's committed to governing Kosovo as an independent state, but after his party's crushing victory in the recent poll, he was asked how he would vote in a hypothetical unification referendum. Nobody was surprised to hear him say that he would vote in favour. So why have people voted in overwhelming numbers to be led by someone who, when it comes to the crunch, doesn't believe in Kosovo's future as an independent state? In essence, it's because they bought Mr. Kurti's line about the election serving as a referendum, not on unification with Albania, but on whether Kosovo should be governed by the old guard or the new groom. Self-determination have yet to prove they can keep their promise to clean up Kosovo, but the more established parties, dominated by Kosovo Liberation Army veterans, have demonstrably failed to live up to their pledges to bring prosperity.
Personnes qui tombent malades chaque jour. Nice est la métropole de France où l'incidence virale est la plus haute actuellement. De nouvelles mesures doivent donc être annoncées d'ici ce soir, après la visite du ministre de la Santé hier et une réunion entre le préfet et les élus locaux. Il y a beaucoup de concertations de terrain. Pourquoi maintenant? Les explications de Bruno Cotresse, politologue, chercheur CNRS au CEVIPOF et enseignant à Sciences Po Paris.
C'est bien sûr à la fois la pression des élus locaux. On sait que le maire de la ville, Christian Estrosi, est en première ligne sur cette question et en particulier qu'il avait voulu prendre déjà d'autres mesures qui allaient dans le même sens, c'est-à-dire d'essayer le plus possible de contingenter, de contrôler la diffusion de l'épidémie dans son département, les Alpes-Maritimes, mais aussi, bien sûr, il y a la pression des données épidémiologiques elles-mêmes qui montraient effectivement une flambée dans les Alpes-Maritimes. Et vous savez que pour le gouvernement qui est sur vraiment une corde raide, il s'agit de ne pas laisser la possibilité à l'épidémie de davantage s'étendre dans le territoire.
Mais sur le plan politique, comment on peut expliquer qu'on écoute, entre guillemets, les élus locaux des Alpes-Maritimes, mais qu'on n'écoute pas ceux de Moselle ou de Dunkerque qui demandent des mesures similaires?
Alors, le ministre de la Santé a fait une visite qui avait aussi une tonalité qui était de se rapprocher des élus locaux des Alpes-Maritimes. Je ne doute pas qu'il va faire la même chose avec les élus locaux d'autres départements. Il a multiplié les rencontres avec les personnels hospitaliers, avec les services aujourd'hui. Moi, j'ai compté au moins 5 ou 6 points. Donc, tout est fait pour montrer que, se rapprocher du territoire, être au proche des acteurs de la santé publique dans le département était important. Alors, est-ce que le ministre de la Santé va faire l'équivalent dans des départements où l'épidémie en ce moment montre une évolution inquiétante? Je n'ai aucun doute sur le fait qu'il le fera.
Mais il était déjà en Moselle la semaine dernière, Olivier Véran.
Il était déjà en Moselle la semaine dernière, mais vous savez que la situation évolue. Le Premier ministre, le Président de la République, le ministre de la Santé ont les yeux rivés sur les courbes. Évidemment, on a vu qu'Olivier Véran a donné une conférence de presse aux côtés d'une chercheuse de l'INSERM avec des graphiques, avec des données pour mobiliser la population et quand même nous dire que la situation est très compliquée. Donc on est effectivement aujourd'hui sur une corde raide pour l'exécutif.
Alors comment on peut expliquer aussi, Bruno Cotresse, que le président a laissé distiller, a laissé entendre hier une note d'espoir, quelque chose de positif, alléger peut-être les mesures dans 8 à 10 jours, parce que c'est simplement important d'envoyer des signaux positifs à la population?
Ils ont attrapé. Il y a du personnel qui s'est promené dans l'autre secteur en face qui a contaminé. Ça a pris 2 semaines puis tout le monde l'avait. Mes collègues m'appelaient. Bon, ben là, c'est rendu au 2e, là, c'est rendu au 3e. Les appels suivants, c'était plus Madame Untel est morte, Monsieur Untel est mort. Personne n'était préparé.
Marjolaine Aubé, présidente d'un syndicat d'aides-soignants, témoigne du manque de matériel au printemps dans une maison de retraite actuellement sous enquête.
Nous, on nous donnait un masque pour la journée et on nous demandait de le faire sécher.
Elle parle aussi du manque d'isolement des malades.
Ils ont mis les patients atteints du COVID d'un côté, ils ont tendu un drap pour séparer. L'autre côté, c'était ceux qui étaient en attente de résultats. Là, j'ai appelé la directrice des ressources humaines, j'ai dit, vous ne pouvez pas garder autant de patients COVID et en plus d'autres en attente de dépistage dans la même pièce. Vous êtes extrêmement mal conseillés.
Joanne Liu, qui a longtemps présidé Médecins sans frontières Monde, a une expérience des épidémies d'Ebola et de choléra. Cette médecin s'est impliquée dans les maisons de retraite québécoises au printemps. Aujourd'hui, elle constate une amélioration des conditions sanitaires, mais des progrès restent à faire selon elle.
On pourrait dire, mais non, on a appris, ça nous a tellement choqués. Mais on regarde que quand même dans la deuxième vague, ça n'a pas été aussi dramatique que ce qui s'est passé au printemps. Mais dans plein de milieux de vie de personnes âgées, il y a eu quand même des éclosions sévères. Surajouter avec ça possiblement de la maltraitance. Vraiment, il faut s'arrêter, il faut revenir sur les faits, il faut comprendre pourquoi on en est arrivé là et il faut rectifier. Moi, je pense que c'est notre devoir. Si ça, on ne fait pas ça, pour moi, c'est une double faute.
Les familles des victimes du Covid, le personnel soignant et le reste du Québec espèrent que l'enquête permettra de mieux protéger les aînés dans l'avenir. Pascal Guéricola, Québec, RFI.
Un sujet à retrouver sur notre site rfi.fr et un mot pour vous dire que le Canada a annoncé hier qu'en raison de la crise sanitaire, des tests de dépistage seront désormais imposés à la frontière terrestre avec les États-Unis, actuellement accessibles uniquement pour des déplacements dits essentiels. RFI Matin, il est 6h17 à Paris et à Pristina. C'était dimanche dernier, il y a une semaine, Albin Courti et son mouvement VET dossier remportait haut la main les législatives anticipées du Kosovo, ancien.
Central government forces. Yemen has been a theatre of political struggle for decades, and these men are no strangers to foreign interest in their lands. You could say you British know us better than we know ourselves, teases Sheikh Khalid kneeling by the fire, his eyes sparkling with mirth. as he tucks his ankles expertly beneath the hem of his robe. He's referring to the British presence in the country for more than a century until 1967, a colonial legacy that provokes mixed responses here. But the British, at least, he says, had the sense to appoint a local emir to consult with the tribes on important decisions. The newer power players here have done little to engage with the historic peoples of this land. Yemen's domestic politics is multi-layered, as Sheikh Khalid puts it. In the US, they just have the donkey and the elephant, referring to the symbols of the Democratic and Republican parties. Here, we have too many political animals to count. This has been compounded by an evolving proxy war. Iran backs the Houthi militias, who now run the most populous parts of North Yemen, and Saudi Arabia and the UAE support the central government.
But
the UAE is also backing the separatists and local militias in the south, adding yet more complexity to the web of allegiances. You might have 3 sons from under the same roof, each a member of a different political party, or fighting in a different group, points out one tribesman gravely. Some even joined the local Al-Qaeda affiliate for a time. But that doesn't make them any less a part of their tribe when they return, leaving the tribal elders caught in a delicate dance to preserve stability while trying to stay above the political fray. The state governor is the leader of his people, but so is the sheikh. If the state is strong, the tribe is weak, Al-Khalid explains. Because in recent years we've had less rule of law, we've had to step in. When
this is
right,
suspicion.
Okay, let's do this one.
And that is the red and yellow flag, provisions that they're putting in, which allows a neighbor or a friend or someone who's concerned about the person with the gun being a problem or a threat or a danger to themselves.
Specifically, yes, anybody who makes a threat, who makes an allegation against a firearms owner is immediately followed by a police raid. Or they, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but when they come through the door, it's usually a battering ram and a SWAT team. And they come in and then they trash the place and take all your possessions, anything it wants. Okay, this is one of the things that's in here. It doesn't say they may take any firearm. It says they may take anything. Anything.
Yeah, it's the small print of this that should concern people. I mean, look, there's only about 50 days left for them to get, anything done in this session. I don't think that this will get passed through. It could maybe bring the government down and take us into election. Who knows where it will go? For me, this is a distraction piece of legislation so that we don't talk about the COVID failures of this government. But what bothers me is when you got a guy like Bill Blair up there using the shooting of a 14-year-old girl who's fighting for her life, saying that legislation like this would maybe save a girl like that, when that's not true, because first of all, if it's an illegal gun, none of this does anything to address that.
No, that's right. And all it is measures being taken against people who haven't broken the law. Because if they had broken the law, they wouldn't have their firearms licenses, they wouldn't have their firearms. You're dealing with people who are so clean they squeak, they're checked out by the RCMP every single day under the continuous eligibility program.
Yeah, they get C-picked every
minimum going after.
Right, and they talk about this buyback program, something that has not worked in any U.S. state that it's been brought back, because what it has done is allowed people to take their guns back and upgrade to a better gun or a more expensive gun. But this is a voluntary buyback program, and if you listen to those, I heard a woman speaking who was involved as a victim in the École Polytechnique shooting, and she said, if you want to stop the gun carnage, then you don't make it voluntary. It would have to be mandatory. So there again is this gray area where it's voluntary, and gangbangers, to my knowledge, don't really like to chain their gun because they can rent them out.
Well, sure, and of course they wouldn't be eligible to turn the gun in for money anyway. It's only the specific 1,500 makes and models of legal gun that the feds banned back on May 1st that would be eligible
there's little
for this buyback.
Some of them are unrestricted.
The buyback's not even in
because they don't know how many are in the country at the moment.
He says there'll be a buyback, there'll be new safe storage procedures. They're not in the bill. There's nothing in it at all.
Right. And he says, yes, off the top of my introduction, he's talking about you're going to hear from the gun lobbyists and all these people fighting back, but it's not aimed at going after legal gun owners. And I guess he's talking about guys like you.
I guess you must be. The only people this affects is legal gun owners. There's not a single thing in here that affects gangs. Not a single thing in here that affects illegal guns. You know, if there's more money allocations going out to CBSA to interdict at the border, I think that's great. I think that's wonderful, and I would support that. But I haven't seen that in here yet either. And of course, it's
well, I did. There was 42 million allocated, but then you read the fine print, and that's over 5 years. And so we're talking $5-6 million a year to stop the actual area of vulnerability that actually might make a difference, because that's where the guns are coming through, or through Canada and places like that, between the reserve, you know, with the organized crime. They don't address that. No government ever addresses that.
No, and of course that includes the money they cut from CBSA's budget last year.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
They cut millions of dollars out of CBSA's budget. So this is just a tiny little bit going back in. And they keep promising to do this stuff, but they never actually do it, Alex. You know, it's always about ideology. It's always about, you know, going and slapping the lawful gun community who doesn't commit the crimes. And it's some kind of thing they have going, and I can't say I understand why they have this constant vitriol for our community. We don't do anything wrong.
Well, because, I mean, it plays very well to downtown urban Toronto, which seems to buy this up, you know, not really recognizing that the gun crime ravaging our streets is the gun crime that they should be stamping out. And so it does appeal to big urban centers, you know, and there are actually quite a few gun owners in Toronto, 40,000 last I read.
That's right.
70,000.
And now what are they supposed to do if the city of Toronto goes ahead and say bans all their firearms? Now what? They're supposed to move? Yeah, I guess that's it. You know, we're now being rated as second-class citizens. We're being forced to move out of our homes by municipalities, or conversely, we are rated without a warrant. I mean, what is this? Where the heck are we living now? What happened to the rule of law?
Well, yeah, that's a good question, or due process. But, you know, there is an awful lot of talk in press conferences that I've heard with this government, including this morning's, where they talk about mass shootings. They refer to Sandy Hook. They refer to all sorts of, you know, assault rifles and assault weapons, which are what people, you know, have the image of. But we don't have assault rifles in this country. And so are they going to reclassify a whole bunch of guns to make it fit this legislation?
I think they have already. They've got 1,500 different makes and models of target rifles.
These people are ignoring the fact that a lot of things are grandfathered in.
No semi-automatic firearm can have more than a 5-shot magazine, and you can only shoot these firearms at a shooting range. They're target rifles. That's all they are.
And so what are you hearing then from your members?
Well, I mean, there's an awful lot of people that are pretty upset about this. I mean, we just had this, you know, order in council gun ban last May. Then a year and a half ago, we had Bill C-71, which was contradictory to this bill. And so now they've had to go into this bill and remove portions of C-71 so that they didn't wind up with this schmozzle any bigger than the one they've already created. And now you're going to have the ability of municipalities to pass their own gun laws, bylaws that carry the force of criminal law. So one of our Olympians goes to shoot a match on the other side of the province. How do they know when they're driving down Highway 11, for example, that each little municipality they go through doesn't have their own laws? How do they know they're not in contravention of their law? And with this carrying the weight of the criminal code behind it, this makes a bylaw very, very strange, right?
Certainly does, but you've seen what's happened in this pandemic with our civil liberties and charter rights. They've kind of gone out the window. So we'll wait and see, but something tells me that this is all just a bunch of smoke and mirrors, because you guys are the easy target. Tony, appreciate speaking with you. We will talk again.
Thank you. Take care.
Tony Bernardo with the Canadian Shooting Sports Association. So there you go. I'm Alex Pearson. This is
I would love to work from home.
Let's face it, if you've lost your job, you have questions. But before you call an employment lawyer, go to the free...
In a minute. The opening of a wholesale store was good news for restaurant owners, but got me no closer to my goal of buying some wine. Having tried a few smaller places and found them all bare, one final destination, the big supermarket on 3rd and 70th. The queue there is a thing to behold, a vast line of people who've spent upwards of 5 and 6 hours in the sun waiting their turn. When they are eventually allowed inside,
de s'entendre partout. Et nous sommes même nombreux à l'avoir étudié au collège. Nous pourrions passer quelques heures encore à écouter des chansons qui ont choqué en leur temps et que nous écoutons aujourd'hui avec bonhomie. C'est peut-être une des grandeurs de notre démocratie que de savoir, et depuis longtemps, laisser les artistes en liberté. 2014, 60 ans après sa création, Le Déserteur par Christian Olivier.